Ariadne's Red Thread. I wrote a poem on 3 different plates of paper and took it to Harriet's house on Garuda Close, where we buried it in the compost. We went back to find it, and we stamped on the trees under the tree to scare away snakes. There weren't any snakes, but then there weren't any poem either. But I would definitely recall, in my mind's eye, seeing a video of us stamping around on the trees, under the trees. So, but my computer has no record of the video whatsoever. So I asked Harriet via WhatsApp, but nor did she. Now, on the floor of the nave of the cathedral at Amiens, there is a labyrinth, and I distinctly recall being told, or reading, that instead of doing a costly and time-consuming pilgrimage to Jerusalem, that you could trace the labyrinth on your knees. And it brought to mind a tourist board at Yemen Moshe, describing the early people living in Yemen Moshe, and the fact that they faced bandits and disease, and even, as I remember, lions.
Headstand Era Rider.
But the guidebook to Amiens Cathedral makes no mention whatsoever of indulgences on the cheap, and the only references I could find to labyrinths in church were about a metaphor for Christians living in God's grace.
Radiated hard sneer.
When I opened a new notebook, because mine was full, I realised I had written down the name of an Irish photographer that I met in the mangrove schools when we visited there. And the fishermen would grab armfuls of cosses out of the water and cook them with chilli and with garlic, and they'd be bright red and beautiful and delicious. And the islands were made of oyster shells. But you couldn't eat the oysters unless they were smoked, because they carried either typhus or cholera, but I don't recall which.
A head diaper's diner.
And his name wasn't what I expected it to be, and it made him remember him differently. So I looked him up online, and of course it was 10 years later, so he was older and he had changed. And I never saw him again, but my friend Louise knew him in Dublin, as I found out when I went to stay with her, and we went to the zoo to see her friend there. And in this friend's back garden, there was an antelope in a bath, and the water was fizzing because they were stripping the flesh of the skeleton. And I can't quite recall, but I think they had to use biological powder, washing powder, to do that. So Ariadne's Red Thread. A harridan deserted. A Dadaist render her. Radar disenchanted. Dandist diarrhea. A headstand era rider. Radiated hard sneer. Airhead arder sneer. And a head drifter's diner. A Dadaist errand here.